I'm gonna need you to go do some networking.
But I don't wanna.
Yeah, but more people need to know who we are.
Fine!
Welcome to Company Outfitters Say It With Stitches. First of all, I'm going to apologize to David Hunter because the audio, if it cuts out, well, I still don't know, and we're going to experiment with this particular episode to see if it works or not, and then we'll just test from there. The audio pack that I'm wearing right now is on loan from a friend, so, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I was going to try to run it through my phone, but oh well. It gets noisy in here, so we really need the audio packs. So, today we're going to talk about networking, because the thing about any business is, contrary to what most people think, again, that was a field of dreams, if you build it, more than likely they will not come. Because even if you're the greatest ever at whatever it is you do, there's not that much of a chance that your network will really expand if you don't talk about your business. And I think that's the most difficult thing for a lot of people getting into business, or if they're doing art, or if it's a blend of the two. They think that their art is their business, or their business is their art. And so usually most people getting into this don't know the first thing about networking. And their business suffers because you can only ask for business from your friends and family for so long until they're sick of hearing you talk about it. So Zach, you had prior experience in this because you were in the hospitality industry. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
As far as what?
As far as like what you did before this, before you got into Company Outfitters.
As far as
just the broad
sales versus...
Yeah, just the broad strokes of it.
Well, my roles in hotels and restaurants was always on the front end of things. So the clients and the customers have already been sold to. They're already there to take part in the product. So the most sales experience I really had was in promoting the experience that they had already purchased, and upselling to, say, a bigger suite or a additional menu item, and then coming into business ownership. There's only one person that's actually going out there and attracting a crowd.
Yeah.
And a client base and a customer base, and that's me. So
here you are.
Just kind of throws you into this whole new way of attracting business and the need to attract business. And a crash course on what sales is and what type of sales efforts work for me. And for me, being a person of the people and liking to hear other people's stories and getting to know actual people, cold calls don't work for me, door-to-door sales don't work for me, but networking works for me. And it's not even sales, it's
just getting to know people.
Yeah, getting to know people.
Yeah.
And through getting to know people, you know, when you share similar interests and you take, you know, the time to get to know another person's story, there's that relationship that's built, and you know, it's what transforms customers to clients.
Yeah. And make no mistake, I think it's important to understand this, because even though we have social media that we can leverage, you still have to get to know the person behind the account. And oftentimes, the best transactions I've had so far are, or the best business relationships I've had with people that I can actually talk with, because they got to know who I was, I got to know who they were. And Zach's got a better sense of this, but you can definitely start to gauge who is a good fit for your business and who isn't a good fit for your business a lot of times, based on just that conversation, and whether or not they're going to be someone you're going to work with over the long term, or someone who you probably more than likely are going to wish that you just had like maybe one transaction, if that. But that all comes with time and practice. And actually, the reason Zach and I know each other is because of a group called B&I down here in Florida, where every week we get together and we meet and we talk about our businesses and get to know each other a little more. And as we sort of understand how we can deliver value to the other people, the other members of that group, they can also, that are better capable of referring out to people in their network. And it's, so regardless of what social networking platform you're using, like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you still need like the basics. And honestly, like how much of that, well, you kind of lucked out because you got into this business and there was already something behind it.
It was an established business, so I already had a base to grow. And in my first year, because there were multiple businesses combined when I purchased the embroidery business, the first year I ended up seeing what my base really was, as well as educating myself on the trade of the business. And then from there, found out where I needed to grow, who was using my services, so who I needed to talk to. And then through family connections, I got jump-started into and introduced into networking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill Rhodes, ASOS. If you guys ever need PEO services, I strongly encourage you to talk to Bill Rhodes of Payment Systems of Florida. Payment Solutions of Florida. Payment Systems.
Even saying that, even what you just did there, like that's kind of how your network grows, is being able to deliver value for other people that you've worked with. And it's this thing where you're constantly giving and sharing value. It's never just that's the one thing I've really picked up out of business, is a constant exchange of value and value, either from businesses to businesses to businesses to customers. There's always something that's being shared there. I mean, even, I guess you could say, on a more consumer basis, like when you make someone smile, that's going to be what helps to build that word of mouth to feed into your network. So when you do something right, like for example, like these towels that we just did, like this is pretty cool. And I've never seen this level of work on these towels before, because I've only ever done the basic block or script stuff. And to have these embellishments on here, somebody's going to see this at some point in someone's bathroom and be like, hey, who did this for you? This is amazing. And how do I get a hold of this person so I can get the same thing done for my bathroom? That's certainly part of it, is having your customers talk about the amazing experiences they had at your business. And in that capacity, maybe building it and allowing your customers who see it can help to just have them come in the sort of in the Field of Dreams sort of way. But that's not all of it, and you still have to go out and you have to reach out to other people. And to kind of bring it to the future or to now, even doing these videos is a way of building a network. Because recently, the last podcast that we did, was it your mom that shared it? That was like, it was really cool because she shared it with like Ringling or something. Yeah, and that's a big deal, because even though it seems like, Ringling is local and seemingly inconsequential, like you never know who that is going to touch in the process. What's another thing too? I mean, you can certainly do the cold calling thing or the door-to-door thing. That's
the way I look at it is, I hate being cold called, and I hate people just showing up at my door unannounced. So if I don't like it, more than likely other people don't like it. I know they do, because we all talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So why am I going to do an effort that tends to turn people off?
Yeah, yeah. And that in itself is a skill. So I mean, I kind of developed my networking skills in a very unique way, and you could call it door to door. It was certainly person to person, and I was cold calling on individual people. Let's just say it was more in the dating space. Let's just say that. But it certainly required me to have to face a lot of rejection, and even in this, like, not everything pans out. And I think as far as networking goes, one of the things that most people are nervous about is the rejection. But what we've learned is that you just can't work with everybody. And I think, and you and I are like actually actively looking for ways to disqualify people that we don't want to work with, right? Yeah. I mean, if that's in price, yeah, I mean, let's talk about price, for example. Some people want really cheap embroidery or really cheap screen printing. And if we can't match with what the person's expectations are, it's just not going to fit. So rejection is there.
Especially when quality is everything.
Yeah, yeah.
My name is going on all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want it to live up to my standard.
So it's important to understand that part of the fear of networking is the rejection.
Stitches.
But you got to understand that it is a part of it, so long as you're trying to offer something to people. Not everyone is going to want it. What else?
I do not.
What else can we talk about? Give me a second. So since right now Zach is on the phone, I thought I'd cut that little piece out so you don't catch the whole conversation. I'm going to apologize if I keep looking behind the camera because there is a road that goes right in front of the store. But yeah, the reason why I want to talk about networking is because you have to feed people and business into the business itself, otherwise there's no business to speak of. Let me put your microphone back on. And yeah, so I keep repeating, unless you have a constant stream of people coming into your business, fortunately Zach has a storefront. In my particular case with Echelon Media, I don't have a storefront. And so for myself and for you, if you happen to have a website and that's your only point of contact for most people, I'm guilty of this. Make sure that that's up to date, because when you send people that way, they're going to look at it. And you need to be mindful of how you're directing people towards actually doing business with you. Business cards are certainly a thing that would help. Tapping into social media, we've been trying to hammer down on Instagram a little bit more, Facebook a little bit more, even a little bit of YouTube with these videos. All of these things are with the intention of bringing people into a funnel. And I know for some people going into business, especially if they've never had the experience and they hate the whole notion of sales, you have to accept that stuff, because otherwise you're not going to have a business. Understanding prospecting, generating leads, getting people to come into the door, closing them. I mean, it's not as much of a hard sell as like a car salesman. And I think most people have that impression that when it comes to actually getting people in the door, they're going to have to do that sort of stuff. It's not necessarily the case. There's no real wheeling and dealing. But it would help you in your networking efforts to know, to get an instinct for where people are in the, quote, sales cycle, or even how to bring up the topic of what your services or product happens to be. I'm still learning that. There are a couple of people, Jeff Nixie and Writings, who are phenomenal at what they do in our BNI group. They just have an instinct for, some client's cousin needs embroidery, and so he'll reach out to Zach, or like Jeff will also be like, oh, do you happen to do photos of like pregnancies, because I know somebody who's just about to get pregnant and they may need photos. But it's developing a sense for how you can also give value to other people that helps to sort of grow and spread your network.
Like, I have one client who every so often she'll come up with a project idea, and she's told me that she loves what I do because I bring people happiness. And, you know, at some point to me, I might take things for granted and think, oh, it's just a simple monogram.
Yeah.
But to my clients and my customers, it is that extra special touch that makes them happy for whatever the purpose is.
Exactly. Yeah. And understand that about what it is that you offer. For me, the core value, the core offering of what I create, I would say in a way is also happiness, because empowerment is sort of part of what I do with Echelon Media, and it's helping people to be able to speak truthfully about what they do so that they can get the word of their business out, and that's what I specifically do. And since I'm wanting to get that word out more, it's helping me to sort of expand my offerings. I have to be mindful not to get too far afield on this stuff. I just want to focus on networking. And just to break it down, you absolutely need to go and network. You need to be known, you need to be heard as a business. Otherwise, you do not exist. And there are plenty of businesses that do that, thinking that they're going to get into it and they have the greatest sandwich shop ever. But if nobody knows who the hell you are and no one has an impression of whether or not they even like you, you're probably not going to survive. You're not going to thrive, let alone survive. Zach is tied into this community because he's lived here for a long time. He has family that's lived here for a long time. And that has been a huge benefit for him. I, on the other hand, have only been in this town for, let's say, going on pretty much 3 years. But it's because as soon as I got here, I made a determination that I was going to go out and build some sort of a network. Because just being a newcomer, I needed to build a group of friends because I don't want to be alone. But the other part of it is they can speak on your behalf and talk about what it is that you do. So just think of it in that respect. Don't overcomplicate the whole networking thing to be this like, I gotta get dressed up and go to this fancy event. You can certainly do that. But if you're getting anxiety just doing something that big, start off small. If you happen to go to, I don't know, you go to the bar and you start talking to people at the bar, just maybe every now and then just throw out what it is that you do, and then somebody's like, hey, I happen to need, what's a common one out here? Landscaping. That's a very common one out here. It's like, if you're a landscaper, I need landscaping. Where do you live? Oh, I happen to live in Gulfgate. Landscaper in Gulfgate. And because they feel like they can trust you, it doesn't matter that there's an established landscaper or landscaping company down there. They like you enough that they're going to want to work with you instead. And then it's just a matter of providing them your contact information and whatnot to go from there. Is there anything else that we can probably add to this?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I think we're just beating a dead
covered all the bases.
We're just beating a dead horse at this point, and it's just really just, you got to get known.
Do I need to get the spray bottle out?
Probably not. You were yelling at yourself earlier, so that sucked. Just spray yourself.
Sometimes we need that extra encouragement.
With that being said, I hope you liked this video. Hope it was informative and also funny. Obviously, give it a thumbs up or a like, depending on where you are. If you're on YouTube and you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can find out whenever we're available.
Follow us every which way you can.
Yep. Even
Instagram, Facebook,
from the parking lot to the front door. Just follow Zach. Yeah, and we try to do this every single week so that we can kind of get the just like clog of ideas in our mind, at least on something to put out there for you guys, because we have these conversations a lot. Although this week has been kind of rough. I was a little bit under the weather. We got kind of behind. We're still kind of catching up, but that's just part of the business. That being said, my name is Mark.
I'm Zach.
And this has been Company Outfitter, Say It With Stitches. We'll see ya.
Media.
Bye.
Throw that echelon out there.